Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Trying to figure out where my focus actually is here. It's not forward. It's like right about somewhere vaguely around here. I think I need to clean that lens off. Welcome. Welcome to the monthly Patreon Hangout. May 29th, 2026. Whew. What a week/month it has been. Holy cow. Hello. Hello, hello. It looks like I'm also just keeping an eye on like the latency between, so I've got my XSplit, my streaming software next to the YouTube studio side of things, and there's like a 3-second difference between when I see comments come in on the YouTube studio side versus when they come in on the streaming software, which isn't too bad. We're not exactly going for like instant, latency on that. But hello. And also, oh my God, there's too much stuff around. So the couch that we do a lot of our Let's Play stuff from is also functionally where my desk is for everything else. So I have a lap desk with a keyboard, and I need somewhere to put it when I'm not actively trying to type something in front of me. So I put it off to the side, but it makes it in perfect elbow smacking position. There we go. Let's get some extra light over there. Let's see. All right, I'm probably not going to be looking this far over, so that won't be, hopefully, not too distracting. But, yeah. Let me also double check. Okay, I did post that there. Good. Oh my God. Yeah, it's been quite the weekend month. Also, if it seems like the video quality starts to drop rapidly or anything, let me know, because I am currently exporting something, and it's one of those pesky. So I'm exporting. I'm like 3 steps into the process of getting the footage from one of the Metroid Prime Hunters videos ready. How to describe this? So it's the same process we usually use for recorded DS and 3DS games, but I'm kind of trying to implement it into the streaming side of things. So alongside streaming of the game, where I'm literally using the DS 3DS recording window, the window of the capture software, and it's like stretched or whatever, so it's a little blurry. It's not terrible or whatever, but in my ongoing efforts to have the cleanest video quality I can for the DS and 3DS stuff, because the recording software can do like lossless recording really nicely. I'm also recording the DS and soon to be 3DS or Federation Force video alongside it, and then I run it through my usual recording process, which is I take the video, I run it through, I think Virtual Dub is the name of it, which is a great like video splitting software. The reason I do that is because oftentimes the video and audio are desynced from one another, so this actually lines them back up really nicely, which is very good. It like processes it differently, so it does it. So instead of doing variable frame rate or variable bit rate, it'll do constant bit rate instead. Ooh, I'm seeing the thing that says like, high CPU usage detected, but I'm not seeing any dropped frames or anything. So we'll leave it for now, but we'll see. If I have to pause it, then I'll pause it. It's been running for 25 hours, and it estimates about 8 hours left to go, which, to be fair, is after I'm going to be going to bed tonight by a pretty good clip. So maybe we just pause that for a little bit, and then, because let's see if we're wrapping up again. Yeah, I'll pause this, and then I'll start it up again after we're done with the community night stuff, and then it'll be. I feel like I'm blurring no matter where I am here. Should be done by the time I get up for it. Well, the big thing is I want to make sure that it's actually, you know what? During this, I'm going to let it run, but during the community night, I will pause it, just because the so step one is recording it. Step two is running it through virtual dub, and that splits it into 2-minute 2 GB video files. For whatever reason, for the 3DS, it's usually 1-minute 2 GB files. Then I pass that into Adobe After Effects, because After Effects has an integer upscale option built in. You can do pixel or integer scaling, rather. So, because if you go into Premiere and you take pixelated video and you just increase the size, it is going to blur it a little bit, because it's trying to do the same. It's really good for like video footage of people and things happening, because Premiere is trying to like smooth that out and like make it look nice and you know, do what it can. It's not like doing AI upscaling. It's just doing classic video frame algorithms to find those like subpixels and yada yada yada. The problem is when you apply that same logic to pixelated video, you get this really mushy kind of stuff going on in between pixels. It's the reason why the footage that we have for the entirety of Mega Man Star Force 1 and most of Mega Man Star Force 2, I think, looks the way that it does in the final video. Like the text, for example, does that thing where like there's this weird, like, it looks like there's a black hole in between. If there's like 2 pixels that are kind of have a corner, but it's blank on the other 2 sides, it'll kind of do this weird warping thing. For D-pad unpaused, I have actually been I've been hard at work with D-pad unpaused behind the scenes for the last year. Along with getting the Sonic Adventure Chronological video, I've been prepping some other stuff, because various DS and 3DS games that I have original footage of, we're going to be uploading to Unpause in a much, much cleaner format than there was before. So Star Force 1, it's going to look like night and day. Actually, I'm going to see real quick, because I made a very short, I think unlisted video about this. Maybe, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. It used footage of Mega Man 0, I think. Yeah. ZX pixel clarity comparison. Is this unlisted? Yeah, this is unlisted. But I'll post it right there. Oop. Did it not want to send that? It gave me an error when I tried to send that. That's pretty not cool. Let's try that again. There we go. Not really sure what the deal there was. But, in fact, no, I don't have a good way to do that. I was just trying to see if, like, is there somewhere I can I pull it up onto the screen here? And it's like I sort of can, but it's going to be really gross as I set all that stuff up. You know what? I'll do it. We got some time here. Let's see. Oh, for this I will need to pause the thing, because we're going to need some actual video processing power here. So let's leave that alone for a second. Why is that the resolution that it's decided to do this at? I mean, it kind of works, actually. It's actually the exact size that this happens to be, and I don't know why it's that size, is like actually pretty slick, because it gives us the like the video, gives us the video, and also like our here's the channel and all that stuff. And also put this up to a resolution where it might be. I'm just going to literally stretch this across the whole space here, because it's not going to be noticeable from that size. Oh yeah, here we go. So now it's going to start doing other stuff. All right, let's just do this. Come on. Nope. There we go. Okay. Like, even just from this right away, like, so the pixels are going to look a little bit chunky here because, like, the resolution of the page that's being generated here is kind of not normal. But, like, even just from this. So what's on the left is, I don't remember which episode this is, but this is some episode of our Mega Man ZX Let's Play. And so on the left is how the video actually looks online right now. The one on the right, again, the pixels look a little wonky because of because of just like the way that I'm presenting this to you right now. But this is after I've run it through my all my processing stuff. And like noticeably blurrier on the left. I'm just realizing too that like you probably can't hear the audio of this anyway, which is fine. But like even just looking at like the rain looks completely different between the two of these. Like it looks thinner, it looks narrower. You can see more of the background in the pixel clarity one. But like, oh, and then also, let me try and show you with one with a bunch of text. The text bit's much more noticeable. Here we go. The text bit's much more noticeable in Star Force and even Battle Network for, I guess, any DS stuff that applies to. But like looking at the text here, the text looks like especially like blobby and kind of a little off there on the one that's actually on YouTube versus the one that's on the right where it's nice and crisp. It's less blobby and blurry and stuff. You can even see there's almost like a halo effect where like around corners there's like an extra pixel like dot because that's just how the algorithm decides to do that when you scale that up. But yeah, so this is something I showed off a while ago as being like, here's the level of difference of quality here. So I know that there are some people who like the look on the left because it looks a little more CRT-like. It looks a little bit more like, it can look a bit more like higher resolution stuff, but I just boop, and that's gone. So that's kind of something I've been quietly doing in the background with other stuff. I forget exactly where we made the change in Star Force. I think it was like Star Force 2 post game 50 or something like that. Like it's right near the end. I may have even commented on it around that time. I think literally it might have been episode 50 because I think part 49 had the old version and it looks like blurry and stuff, and 50 was like super crisp. So I've just, I've been going back through. I think Star Force 3 is pretty close to good in terms of like being able to export that. I've been trying to get in the habit of, I haven't been doing it all the time, but when we complete series, I will try to export an unpaused ready version of it just because it's easier to do it while it's all fresh and nearby as opposed to hunting for it later. That can cause problems sometimes. Well, you want a CRT look on something that was never displayed on a CRT one on real hardware. I mean, that's a good point. That's a very good point. There's a perennial debate that I think is silly, to be honest, about how pixel art is supposed to look and how it's supposed to be perceived. Me personally, I've always been a crisp pixels fan in all contexts. Like some people will say that like Final Fantasy, for example, is meant to be played on a CRT. That the various, especially the character portraits, are very much designed to be seen on a CRT because it gives you the appearance of curves and there was a really nice one that I saw that I think was from a Castlevania game where the specific way that a CRT works, they were able to make it look like a character's eyes were glowing red in a way that doesn't quite work the same in pixels. And like I get that, but also we've had Mega Man since 1987, and Mega Man is visibly meant to be sharp resolution for how it looks. Like the single pixel of outline helps with like distinguishing Mega Man from backgrounds on a CRT, but like the thinness of the pixels, it really does work better with crisp pixels there. And so I don't know. I just prefer the crisp pixels. And if someone wants to watch it in a way that looks more like a CRT, then they can play the video at 360 or 144p and have a blast. But yeah, Star Force 3 is like mostly done there. I've been working on Star Force 1 as well. I haven't lately. I haven't for a few months now, but I was working on it, and I've got it fixed up to about, I think, half of the main game. I haven't started 2 yet because, so to do this right, I'm basically re-editing all the visual effects that I add into these, which includes screen switching. So in Star Force 3, you really only screen switch when like you go to save, or I think I'm trying to remember if we still use it for the actual menuing. I think we do. Yeah, I think menuing is still something we screen switch for, and that's mostly it. There's very rare other times where the screens need to move. In Star Force 1 and 2, the gameplay and the battles take place on opposite screens, as opposed to Star Force 3 where they both take place on the top screen. The battles in Star Force 1 and 2 take place, I believe, on the bottom screen. So that means that every single time there's a battle, we have to do a screen swap, which for Star Force 1 is a lot, and for Star Force 2, it is nigh constant. We probably fought 1,000 battles in Star Force 2, possibly even more, and every single one of those needs a screen swap to clean that up. So that's been but granted, it's gonna be like a good, at minimum, once we start moving again, it's gonna be another like 2 years before Star Force, especially Star Force 2, shows up in the unpaused lineup. So like, it's not a rush. It's not something I need to worry about immediately. Part of the reason Star Force 1 I've been focusing on getting done on the sooner side is that one is close to being in a spot where it could come out on there. Like, I think we still need Battle Network 5 and 6. And I'm still doing some other like checkup things in there, but it's gonna be nice when Unpaused is back. I missed being able to upload stuff to that, but that'll be coming back around, I think, this summer. The chronological order video I'm still aiming to have out by the end of June, and then we're gonna start like moving again on the unpaused side of things, because for the most part it's just a matter of having something exporting on the side. And I just got an 8 terabyte D drive that I now have set as like all my scratch disk and my like temp file zone for like media cache for Adobe. So all of that space, the vast majority of what we're using it for there is, one, emergency storage. I need to get some hard drives, and they've gotten way more expensive in the last couple months. They've basically doubled in price, which is not good because they were already questionably expensive before. Like, I can justify to myself spending this right now if I don't buy another one for like 6 months at least, kind of thing. Because the way that I do my hard drives, I don't buy like a shitload of 8 terabyte hard drives or whatever. I will essentially buy the next size up, transfer the entire old hard drive onto the new hard drive, and then waterfall it down. So like, all right, I'll buy an 18 terabyte hard drive, and then, oh, the CPAD videos are on a 16 terabyte, so we'll move that to the 18 terabyte. And then, oh, we've got Pokemon videos on a 14 terabyte, so that one can move to the 16 terabyte. Oh, we've got Sonic RAWs on a 12 terabyte, and that one's been acting slow, so we definitely want to move that to the 14 terabyte, and so on and so on. Hello, Joe Body. Hello. But so it's going to be for 2 things. One, it's going to be for, it's literally, I labeled it junk drawer, because it's going to be for just shit that needs a place to live for a little while. And then also it's just going to be where Adobe can do its thing, because I cannot tell you how many times I run into the, oops, you're out of scratch disk space, and then I have to go delete random shit and delete temp files and delete media cache stuff just to keep the C drive, above 6 gigabytes or whatever in order to operate. So that'll be a lot easier to do. I was running into issues before where I would try to run them in the background, but I would be running out of space on my C drive constantly. And that's where we would run into stuff like, oh, there's audio channels missing and stuff. And it's usually because I ran out of C drive space that it was trying to cache something with while it was exporting. So that shouldn't be a problem anymore, which is nice. I'm actually going to restart that export that was running on the side there now that we're not showing a video thing. But yeah, I'm trying to. This weekend's actually been very busy. I have at least one video that I absolutely need to get out this weekend, and I need to finally record the Sonic Racing Crossworlds and Kirby Air Riders intros. The scripts are like 99%. I just need to do a last pass on them to make sure that I like where they're at. And then I got to record them. There's some silly gimmicks on a couple of them. Some stuff has already been recorded for a while, to the point where it's going to be funny to see some of the video stuff because it was very much recorded in the winter, and it's not the winter anymore. So but those would be good to get up there. But yeah, I do have at least one video I desperately want to get out this weekend. I was originally going to try to get like the two leftover Hades videos out this weekend, but I think I just need to clear them out and do that the week after or something, because those can come out anytime. They're not high priority. The other stuff is. If I can get two videos up this weekend for things that I wanted to get done, then great, but we'll kind of see how that goes. Yeah. We are, I believe, shy of Sonic Racing Crossworlds and Kirby Air Riders. I think we're fully out of our backlog. I think we finally actually spent our entire backlog that we've had for like almost 2 months now. We've had quite a few things there. I actually need to see if anybody's coming by this weekend to see if we're doing recording stuff with people. If not, then I've got some solo things I'm going to record alongside getting those other videos done. And I have some like streaming things going. Time to kidnap Jeff again and bring him to the content mines. I actually need to just start poking people one by one, I think. And just to see like what people's schedules are. Sarah suggested that a little while ago, and I just haven't like had time to be able to one-on-one everybody and like figure that out. But it's tricky. Everybody's busy, myself included. I had 2 weekends that didn't have anything going on between now and the end of July, and I think both of those weekends now have things going on. This weekend was technically one of those weekends, but now I've got 3. I am starting right now. This is the first. I believe I'm streaming 8 times over the next 6 days. Because we have this. We have the community night on the Discord afterwards. We have tomorrow at noon Eastern, I'm going to be joining in for a pirate-themed Mario Party Madness game. You'll see some familiar faces in there. Lana Ruse is going to be in the game. I believe Toontress is going to be in the game. Danny Alba from Good Vibes Gaming is going to be in there. Going to have a bunch of people. That'll be a fun time. There will be tomorrow night, and this is brand new information, so I'm going to be posting about it tomorrow, but tomorrow night at, I want to say 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be joining on for a Mega Man game show. I think it's a Mega Man game show. That's what it was presented me as. So I was originally going to be streaming technically late Wednesday night, more like early Thursday morning. Folks from the 20XD Expo server got a hold of me to try to find some time at the very end of Mega May for me to jump in with a Rockman strategy stream. And at the time, the only options, I'm actually going to pull it up because I want to, it's so funny. I appreciate them reaching out. Like, this is not me being ungrateful by any means. It was just very fun. So the slots that were presented to me as being like, hey, we're really looking to fill these slots if you'd be interested. There was from this week, Monday from 3 to 6 a.m. Eastern. So 3 to 6 a.m. Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were all open, as well as 8 a.m. to noon Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday, and 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So I was like, well, let me see what I can do as far as as essentially Thursday morning, but Wednesday night. I had mentioned like, I had mentioned at the time, it was like, I've been doing Metroid games, and people are going to be real mad if I just like swerve literally like a few days before to like switch it out for Rockman Strategy of all things. And I had mentioned like I'm not promising anything. I'll see what I can do. I also needed to get Rockman Strategy up and running again. I need to get a new virtual box set up and all of that. And it's a good thing that I set that down as a barrier ahead of time, because I still can't get it working properly. So I'm probably going to be updating all those materials that I put online for how to install and play the game, because it doesn't work right now. So I need to figure that out. But I did wind up reaching back out to them earlier this week to double check, like, hey, did you still need that, like, a slot filled, or are you guys all good? And they're like, actually, we're all good. We did get it filled. So you're off the hook for that. And I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, yeah, we have Mega Mondays continuing onward. We'd love to have you for one of those. I'm like, yeah, I'd be down for doing that at some point. Probably not happening super soon. Just based off of the streaming schedule I currently have and real life stuff going on, like, don't expect that until like, I mean, realistically, somewhere in July, if not August. Cause between, I've got a bunch of travel coming up in about a month from now. I'm going to be on another continent for a week and a half. And then I'm coming back and like days later going on vacation for a week with Sarah. Then I'm back for a week. And then the week after that, I'm going to be gone for 4 days to New York for another work trip. And that takes us to like the end of July. So like, there's a lot going on there. Things are going to be a little scrambled from like mid-June to late July. And that's in addition to, I really want to get as much Metroid in as we can. I do still have a plan I've got a plan coming together for what I want to do. I've got 2 different ideas, and I'm trying to decide which one I want for the next Sonic Weekathon, including when that's going to happen. Because the exact dates that I would normally be trying to do Sonic Weekathon for are literally the start of that week and a half long work trip. So I will be at home for the actual anniversary itself, and then like the next morning, I'm getting on a plane that doesn't land until the following morning in Europe. So there's some stuff I got to figure out for that. As for, Jared wonder why all the reasonable time slots were taken already. No, absolutely. I was kind of low key hoping that someone else was going to have to drop somewhere in that week, and then they were going to need someone to fill a more reasonable time slot that I could hop in on, but that did not happen. It went the other way. They filled the time slot instead. So, that wound up working out. But so that's the 4th thing in the next 2 days. So Patreon, Community Night, Mario Party, Mega Man Game Show. Saturday, I'm hopping on another of Shell Shock's podcasts. We're talking about Pokemania, but one craze of the mid to late 1990s, and just the cultural impact of it and everything that came out of there. Then Monday we got Rat Stream. Tuesday we have another SMZ3. Probably not the last stream. I think we're gonna have one more after that, just based off of if it weren't for the fact that there's so many bosses that we have to beat, then I'd be a little more like, we can maybe finish it off. But like, I've beaten 2 bosses, I believe, out of a minimum of 11. because you need the 4 Metroid boss remains, and 7 crystals in order to get to the respective ends. So 11 bosses have to be killed, but there's like 15, 16, something like that. So probably not happening for that week. And then finally on Wednesday, we're finishing Metroid Prime 3 for real, and starting Federation Force. I feel bad about the end of Prime 3 for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which is I definitely, even in the moment, was like, I'm sounding super annoyed and grumpy, and that's not a good vibe for the end of this, and I felt really bad about that. I think if it didn't catch the end of that yet, yeah, I mean, so I won't spoil it for you, but I will say that it takes like just long enough to get to some places in the game that it is a bit of a drag when you realize you have to go and do something else. Like, it's tricky. The balance is so tough because, like, a good Metroidvania doesn't just arbitrarily give you a bajillion warp points, because that kind of reduces the impact of a lot of what you're doing. And like, I understand and respect that. Like, that's just kind of part of how the genre works. But it still does suck when you have to do one thing and it's like, this is going to take a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes just to go and accomplish this, just to turn around and do a different thing. Yeah. Clearing out all our pickups and stuff took longer than I thought it would by like a good clip. I was thinking it was going to take like 2 or so hours to clear everything out, and it took like 4 hours. No, it's okay. It's totally fine. It was like the perfect storm of stuff going just barely wrong enough, both in my brain and in the game, to like make it all go that way. Like, so you know, the knowledge of what I needed to do was from the previous stream, and I full on did not remember that was the case. And then I misunderstood the information we were receiving because it was like just ambiguous enough when compared to the thing we did care about. And then I also made a mental connection between two things that were disconnected entirely, and I did not realize that they weren't connected. I had assumed that they were both related. So like, whole huge pileup of stuff. Also, at that point, I was so exhausted and I was rushing because at this point it was like after 3 a.m. and I'm like, I got shit to do in the morning. I was going to say, but the 2 a.m. is about my limit for sanity. Honestly, same. It's part of the reason I usually try to wrap up in the ballpark of 2 o'clock because, like, I feel myself slipping pretty hard by that point. And in some circumstances, I'm able to push through, and it's why I tried to, because I'm like, we're so close to the end of this. And I don't want us to have, like, a 1 hour stream to follow it up, or like an hour and then we switch, and then I want up that anyway, because that's what's going to happen on Wednesday. Is I'm going to do the end of Metroid Prime 3. It's just long enough that you probably wouldn't want to do it anyway. I mean, that's fine too if that's the case, if it's an actual like area, as opposed to, because Metroid Prime 1 was literally 2 rooms. It was one huge room, a save room, and I think a little like vestibule, I guess, at the beginning and the end, right before the actual fight with Metroid Prime. And then with 2 was the one that had, I don't know if I'm mixing up 2 with Hunters, because one of them, I think I am thinking of Hunters, is the one where like, oh, there was like a little morph ball puzzle that was in one spot, but if you just walk straight through, I think that was Hunters. I'm trying to remember what the end of 2 was, actually. Because 2 also included, great, you did it, time to escape, and then the fight with Dark Samus at the very end. 2 had the evil ship. The evil ship. I don't remember. I also realized after we started the stream that for the post on Blue Sky, I was like, sweet, we're finally going to end Metroid Prime 3 and bring Goria down for good. And then in the middle of the stream, I realized Goria was the final boss of Prime 3, not of Hunters, not 3. I actually don't think we know currently who the final boss of 3 is. Like, I assume it's Dark Samus, but it could be, or I guess Phase. Oh no, Phase is the planet, right? Evil Ship, you don't, I do. I chance. Know who the final boss is. Also, no, the Evil Ship is Kingdom Hearts. You're thinking of the wrong game. Phase the location itself. Yeah, okay. I'm also going to hold to the fact that I'm not insane for thinking Foz was a reasonable attempt at a pronunciation. Knowing that Phazon is a thing, Phase works also, but the double A is just like a little bit off to me. I can't think of anything that does double A's that is pronounced A in any language. In English, we've got A and Ah. And in Japanese, it would also just be ah. Oh, that's actually, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad, though. Rayquaza, because Rayquaza's just got single A's, right? I don't think Rayquaza, but yeah, Rayquaza. Oh God, I try to correct myself on most of the Pokemon ones. There are a few that I refuse to. Rayquaza still feels wrong. I get that it's Rayquazar is kind of what they're going at. It just feels wrong. I don't know why. Rayquaza just has a nicer ring to it, in my opinion. I don't know. And then you've got stuff like Rattata as opposed to Rattata. I think Rattata sounds silly. And Rattata sounds nice compared with Raticate. They rhyme nicely in terms of their rhythm. Only Pokemon to add voice acting finally. Honestly, that would solve kind of a lot. I have actually referred at various points because of secret projects to Pokedex 3D a little bit. Because Pokedex 3D has a narrated official pronunciation of every Pokemon from, I think, the first 3 generations. Because I think it was designed for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. It might be 4 or 5, but I think it was just 3. But it is the most... It is the official source with the most clarity, I think. I would say anything after like 2010 that pronounces Pokemon names is more than likely going to be... It was designed for black and white. No shit. Okay, cool. So that's pretty good. Then that's 600 and... I forget what that goes up to. Verizon. I would have figured it'd be Virizion, yeah. It just, another one that just sounds better. I mean, in fairness, Viridian... Is Viridian a green color? In my brain, I think I internalize it as a yellow color. Actually, is it? Or is it red? I don't remember now. Viridian is green. Okay. Oh, which makes sense, because that's where you get, like... Yeah, because it comes from the same roots that most languages' version of green come from. Ferrothorn? Is it a Ferrothorn, essentially? I mean, like, saying it fast, I could see Ferrothorn. I think I usually go with Ferrothorn. The Ferra being like ferrous, meaning like made of iron. Oh, Ferrothorn? Oh, that's terrible. That's super not okay. Ugh. Maybe I shouldn't be using Pokemon 3D then. Or Pokedex 3D. That's weird. At first I thought that's what you were getting at was Ferrothorn based off of the way you did that. And I was like, that can't be right. It bums me out though, because it's like, it is probably the most official pronunciation we actually have. That is something that Bulbapedia desperately needs to add, is official pronunciations of Pokemon. And by official, I mean any that have been spoken out loud. And you can even cite the source of it or something. It'd be a huge undertaking, but Jesus Christ, it'd be great to have any sort of pronunciation guide for Pokemon at all. Also, that is Mean Xiao. That's so wrong. That's clearly meant to be Mien Xiao. Mean Xiao. No. No. Oh, I hate that. I hate that a lot. God damn. All right, maybe Pokedex 3D is wrong. I don't know. The anime is probably fine to rely on, maybe not so much in the early days, but now I think they're pretty gung-ho about being accurate. That is also my assumption. The hard part is knowing the rough point at which they would have gotten more gung-ho about it. Official statement on Arceus being, we used a soft CSM, but then realized that has the word arse, so never mind. Yeah, it's very funny to see where the lines are between people on Arceus slash Arceus. I would say that at this point, the official pronunciation was the hard C slash K sound, considering the system that was used to create type null is the RKS system and not an RCS system, because it's clearly a reference to Arceus since they have the special designation of being Pokemon that are related to, like, that are connected to all types in some way. You've got Arceus, you've got type null, sort of in an opposite way with type null. You've got Genesect, and you've got like Terapagos, which that's how I usually go with it. I put the emphasis on the RA as well, Terapagos, because it's Galapagos. Because, like, I understand also it's Terra Crystals, but Terapagos sounds weird. Actually, Terapagos doesn't sound horrible. I could actually, if it turned out to be Terapagos, emphasis on the te, then that would be fine. But if it's like Terapagos or something, it's like, no. You get singular emphasis on either the te or preferably the ra. The final two syllables, secondary emphasis at best. Battle Revolution was the only time they used the soft C in English. All right. Interesting. Go full crazy and be like, yeah, Terapagos. Oh, yeah. It's just, it's you got your Rayquaza and you got your Terapagos. It comes from the Greek word pagos, meaning the emotions of Pagos. They fight in the field. That's why it's Terra. Tap to pay. Yeah, that'll actually be when they finally do Pokemon Let's Go Johto. They'll add Terapagos to the Johto decks in the same way as Meltan and Melmetal sort of existing in the Kanto decks. What a stupid fucking everything about Meltan and Melmetal annoys me. Everything about both of them. Insane to have a Pokemon that you can only obtain in a mobile game that has a shelf life. There's gonna be a point, or maybe Pokemon Home has one by now too, but like, there's gonna come a day where Pokemon Go is going to end, and then they're gonna have a Pokemon that has only ever existed and was only ever able to evolve on a now dead mobile game. You can get them via home now, which is good. It's better. It feels very lame. Especially considering, like, they're not legendaries. Like, it's not presented in a way where it's like, it's a very special Pokemon, so you get it in a very special way, and there's, like, you can still get a bunch of Meltans and stuff. But, oh, they are mythicals? Okay, that's, all right, that gives it a little bit more, rationale behind it. But it still feels silly. I don't know. It's it's tricky because there is a part of me that does understand why some things with Pokemon are the way they are at this point. Like, they've been experiencing rapid growth continuously for the last 30 years. And what was I going to say? And like, they've been spreading the brand across a bunch of different media and all of that. And like, I don't know. It's tricky. No other franchise has this sort of problem. Pokemon is honestly extremely unique in that regard. That like, I could literally go grab a physical real Game Boy Advance and play a video game from 24 years ago and take a character from that game and transfer it with most of, if not all of, its, stats and things involved across like 20 other games across 24 years and still use it in modern releases. One of each decides. I mean, I figured there was Mega Dimension struck me as being very Crown Tundra coded, I guess, where it was just them going like, here's a bunch of special shit now. Not only that, but like every gen or two now, it feels like they're kind of just going, catch a bunch of shit. It's special. We don't know what to do with these anymore. Which is its own whole problem, but like, I'm still waiting for the day they actually have some kind of globe-trotting Pokemon adventure. I feel like the Pokemon Legends games are like inching closer to that being a possibility. Which is ironic considering they went from a whole country to just a city between these last two. But, what I mean by that is Pokemon Legends is not bound by the usual Pokemon formula of, you got to beat 8 boss, you have to beat 8 gym leaders or 12 kahunas / totems and then go beat an Elite Four to, like, you can it's a different sort of setup than that. And there's no reason they couldn't have a larger scale Pokemon game that has you visit multiple regions because of something that's going on, while otherwise completely separating yourself from the standard gym battle experience. It'd be a great chance to bring a handful of characters back from various generations. Especially a lot of the professors. I think a lot of the professors would have an easy time coming back if there was some major threat going on. Granted, then you'd also have to justify why, like, the champions of each region aren't showing up, because if you do bring all of them back, you're starting to lean really hard into just doing fan service. So it's a delicate balance. It's hard to keep an idea like that working properly without it being like just, I don't know, here's all the things that any individual fan wants over and over again kind of thing. Gave us Lumia City a few years after X and Y and only gave us like 3 characters from it. It's true. One of whom the funniest thing about that is like the first one of those that we meet is someone that you could very easily, like I did, not even know that they were in X and Y in the first place. Because our Pokemon professor is in X and Y. I think she's one of the admins or something of Team Flare. I'm trying to remember what her position was within Team Flare. But I straight up forgot she existed altogether. I think Pokemon can stand to do just a little more fan service, just a touch. Don't go too far. Go a little far. I would agree. It's tricky because like the shape of the fan service can be hit or miss too. Like, there's a part of me that was like, oh, it's kind of cool that they had characters in Legends Arceus that were designed after modern day quote unquote characters from Sinnoh, but also it's like so on the nose in spots, and not just Sinnoh, but like a few other of the Pokemon games as well. And it's like, it's okay. It feels a little bit like it feels a little ham-fisted, but Admins were generic trainer class. Special characters were scientists. With a pit bull looking guy. Oh, Pitbull meaning like the musical artist. I thought you meant guys that looked like pit bulls, like the dogs. I was like, what? Yeah, I do remember that now. So that would have meant that she was working under Zerosic then, right? Zerosic was like the lead scientist of Team Flare, I think. Did Jeff and Dave have a fun nickname for Tierno? Because instead of Tierno, we got Girl Tierno. Oh, God. What was our nickname for Tierno? Was it just Dance Friend? I'm trying to remember now. Honestly, depending on the order of things, if I played it now for the first time, I'd probably just call him Dog Street. Because he reminds me of Dog Street from whose name I also don't remember from Kingdom Hearts 2. I remember there was Odette? No, Olette is the girl. And I forget the others. Pence, that's right. Yes. They may have called him Dog Street. Okay. That's fair. Also, Jeff and Dave are big Bouncer fans, so Dog Street has double meanings for them, so that's kind of nice. I'm going to lean back a little bit. I'm leaning really far forward all of a sudden. There we go. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. I can't wait to get back into Kingdom Hearts. I'm trying so hard to make it happen. I think I've already talked about this. We were so close. We almost got a Union Cross session in 2-ish weeks ago, and it just didn't happen. I'm hoping that we can make it happen soon. I do have a side project. Oh, was there? Let me pull up my thing and I'll see it there. Oh, it doesn't even show up in the live chat. Like in the studio side. Huh. That's odd. Usually doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't know. Hello, C-Dude. Good morning. Morning. Yeah, I have a side project that I had been working on. Have is the wrong verb here. Had is correct. I haven't had a chance to work on it lately because I had to divert attention into both work stuff and anniversary stuff and Grand Champion stuff. I'm starting to free up a little bit though. I think once I've got the Sonic and Kirby intros taken care of, that'll help a lot. But I have a secret project I've been working on that side of things. I've got a long way to go, but I've been slightly banking. Fucking XSplit. I don't understand why it does this. It really bothers me. How can fucking streaming software have existed for this long? And like random shit like this just breaks still. And it's not even the breaking it does isn't even random. It breaks very regularly, which is somehow more annoying. It breaks once per hour, pretty much on the hour. Super frustrating. Evidently, I mean, I am currently in the midst of trying to rescue my old D drive. I mentioned that I got a new D drive that's 8 terabytes. I have the old one in a housing unit. It's not currently plugged in because every time I do plug it in, so there was a point for like a week or two where I tried to use the D drive and some folders in particular seemed to be really slowing down. Now, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Like the D drive just couldn't do anything out of nowhere. So I removed it from the computer, and I noticed that booting up was immediately faster. And it just, but if I, even in the housing unit, if I turn it on, I just can't get into the drive. What worries me is there's some special filming stuff that I've been hanging on to that I don't know where it is, and it might be on that drive. And if it's on that drive, it's really going to bum me out because there was some one shot or we lose it type stuff that I had recorded. And if it's on there and I can't rescue it, then like the final project, no, it would mess with the final project. I was going to say like, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I'm just like, no, it kind of would be, considering what I want to do with it. It'd be pretty fucking bad. Double annoying because it's stuff that I would be planning to record, or stuff I would be planning to put out like within the next couple months, like this year. I've been hanging on to it for a little bit longer than that, but like, so I got to figure that out. Historically, the biggest emergency ripcord I've had is like, all right, we're gonna load into like an Ubuntu OS for a minute here just to access the drives because it doesn't automatically try to do XYZ when you load it up or something. But it's not great. I also have the hard drive that fell and broke about a decade ago. I still have it, and I've been trying to mess with that a bit more again too. Still can't get anywhere with that. I hung on to it because, like, I don't know, maybe someday there'll be a thing to. Oh no, is that not how that's pronounced? I've heard it like that forever. Ubuntu or Ubuntu. I've heard them fairly interchangeably. Just don't try to get me to pronounce the one that starts with a D. Ubuntu? Ubuntu? Oh no, I'm not doing that. It's gonna be Ubuntu or Ubuntu. I'm not doing Ubuntu. BoobTube, yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm literally looking at the drive right now. The worst part is I've got all this DS and 3DS stuff that needs to be run through these 30-hour exports. Let's see. The one that's exporting right now, this is me passing the 4th of 5 Hunter streams through this process. It has been exporting for about 25 and a half hours. And according to the clock right now, it has 7.5 hours left, but it always slows down the longer it runs. I think there's like a memory issue with Media Encoder for like especially long processes. So realistically, that thing will be done around like dawn, I would think. Right now it's 8 p.m. I bet this thing has 10 to 12 more hours to go. But so I have these 36-hour things, and I already previously, like a couple weeks ago, had one that was like an hour to go where some weird hard drive thing made it just go like, oh, never mind, I've disconnected, and it fucked up the export. And I had to start it all over again. And it's double tricky because, like, I can't run a 36-hour export process if it's during a period of time where I'm planning to stream sometime in that 36 hours. Videos both Obama and Desmond Tutu pronouncing Ubuntu. Oh, God. Because it's a Zulu philosophy. Okay, that makes more sense. Well, there you go. There's the difference. Ubuntu is the philosophy, and Ubuntu is... But yeah, oh, man. There are times I wish I had a second computer just for doing exports like this. Because then I could have it be on the side and nothing fucking matters. It can do that, and then I can transfer the export back afterwards. It'd be great. Unfortunately, I don't have any organs I can donate to afford computer parts right now. Now that they're all $1 trillion a piece. That's the real bitch of it. I have a I mean, I don't have an engineering job these days. I have an engineering adjacent job, but uh like it's still a stretch to get hard drives that last year this time would have been like, I don't know, $200, $250, something like that. Now they're like $600, and it's like I cannot justify that. $250 was already kind of like if I'm only buying like one or two of these a year, I guess that's fine. Now it's like 600. It's like I got a mortgage and shit. Yeah, the Steam Deck one was like, fuck me. I was at some point considering getting a Steam Deck. Now I'm not. I'm not buying $1,000 console. Are you out of your fucking mind, Valve? Like, and I know it's not up to them in the sense that, like, this shit is being forced by way of all the, like, price increased shit thanks to, AI destroying everything. And probably some ripple effects of all the tariff shit, too. But, like, I'm not buying I'm not buying $1,000 Xbox. I sure as fuck am not buying $1,000 Steam Deck. Oh my god, it broke again? What the fuck? Why? Why are you doing this to me? That was 8 minutes. Not even, it was 7 minutes. But yeah, Bubble can't pop soon enough. Has an SD card for more storage instead of having more built in. This message will not be lost forever, but not this message. Well, yeah. Like, joke's on you. Yeah, hopefully the bubble pops real fucking soon. It's so close. It is agonizingly close. It's like one of those TikTok videos, TikTok streams that's meant to bait people into watching them because it's a person with a giant thing to like pop a balloon that's like right there, and they're like, "Oh, just 5 more viewers and I'll pop this, I swear." It's like that. It's always just about to go, but it doesn't seem to. They shut down Sora. They shut down the video AI thing that they were leveraging as being like, this shit's gonna replace Hollywood. Oh, just kidding. We can't afford to run it in the first place. Like, okay, goodbye. We're now at a point where it's so funny because there's been a big push in the tech sector for everybody to get on board with like Claude code in particular, but like a bunch of LLM type stuff. And immediately after that happened, Anthropic and OpenAI, all of them suddenly went, we actually need to change how we charge everybody because enterprise packages don't work for us money wise, which is true. There was I had seen an analysis that was like, so you could do a $2 account with Claude, I think, and to run a $2 account, it was costing the company like $200 for how much it was getting used. Like, that's the most fascinating part to me is, and I've seen it close up firsthand, people who are like, you should be using this for everything. You should be attaching this to everything. You should, integrate this into your regular workflow. And like, people will then go like, oops, I used up my monthly tokens and it's the 4th of the month. Like, it's so transparently unsustainable on every front that it's fucking staggering that it is still happening. It's crazy. And like, you got the folks who will be like, AI isn't going away. It'll be around forever. It's like, you could have convinced me about that like maybe 6 months ago that like, fine. Yeah. Some part of it's still going to be fucking around and whatever. Right now I'm just like, I don't know that any of it's going to be around because any of these platforms that exist get absolutely hammered by insane numbers of users and requests and all these things, and it's not sustainable for any of them. For any of them. Like, I think Grok is like the only one that even stands any chance, and that's just because people aren't fucking like using it as much. They use it for like single tweet analysis type stuff, and that's almost it. The only thing that's keeping it alive is the fact that no one gives a shit about it. Keep telling ChatGPT thank you to kill it faster, right? It's so frustrating because like all of the ways to potentially ruin ChatGPT involve using ChatGPT, which does more damage to the world than it does to OpenAI. And like it is doing damage to OpenAI, but it's doing more damage to everything else. It's like, fuck. There's gonna be a reckoning when this shit is all over. It's gonna be like biblical, I think, when the time finally comes. Keep setting fire to OpenAI HQ. Oh no, I understand what you mean. Is in some ways DDoSing ChatGPT by just using it for garbage for the sake of running up their bills. And I definitely don't endorse literally setting fire to OpenAI HQ. That would be irresponsible and illegal. So, yeah, you and me both, see, dude. You and me both. I've been trying to stay creative, and I've been finding ways, but I am also running out. I'm supposed to deliver talks as part of my job. And the edict from above is that we should be trying to incorporate AI into more and more aspects of what we do with our jobs. And I am trying to stay creative so as to sleep at night. And like I'm in the middle of slowly trying to pitch a talk with a working title of Trust in the Era of AI, which I realize I need a different name because the idea is the construction there is not, hey, everybody should trust in the era of AI that is approaching, which is what it kind of sounds like. The idea being, let's focus on the ability to trust during the era of AI. So maybe I need to change that, and by that I mean like cleverly proselytizing for more human element in things and actual human done pull requests, peer reviews and stuff, yada yada. We'll see how it plays. I don't know. But yeah, it's getting difficult. And I am hoping that everything is ultimately okay for both my job and myself if/when the AI bubble does finally pop. I saw a user openly mentioning that there was a feature that was in alpha last year that hasn't been developed on our platform, and they expressed frustration because they were looking forward to that feature, and then followed it up with, it feels like the company's just focusing on AI too much now. So that's not good. The company itself can exist just fine without AI, both internally and like externally. So like it should be able to survive if something like that happens, but I think COVID broke a lot of people's brains. I think it broke a lot of people's brains in very different ways. It's like the super soldier serum. Let's go MCU mode for a second here. It's like the super soldier serum, where what it does is it exaggerates. COVID exaggerated the qualities that everybody individually embodied. If you were a very like introverted, sheltered sort of person going into COVID, boy oh boy did COVID just shut you down in terms of your ability to just go out and do stuff in the end. And it made me a lot louder about a lot of things that bother me in the world. And then you've got the tech bros, which, because of the career I've chosen, like, I'm very, in that sphere of people. You wind up with a lot of people who kind of only think with, like, their brain dick, if you catch my drift. A lot of people with solutions searching for problems. Blue Sky, for example, just today announced, good news, version 1.1.12 of Blue Sky is out, and it's a connected partnership with subscribe.blog or something. This will make it easier for you to find and post newsletter articles, periodical posts, and blogs. And it's like, was even one person outside of the actual Blue Sky organization itself asking for that? I don't think anybody was like, man, if only my Twitter replacement would make it easier for me to find tech blogs. Yeah, it's honestly crazy how blatant it is that the people running Blue Sky don't give a wet shit about anybody in their actual main demographics of their user base. They do not give a shit. And it's so fucking frustrating because the only reason they exist is because co-host couldn't get up on its feet fast enough, and Twitter picked the exact moment that it did to start like really collapsing on itself. They only exist because of other stuff. Yeah, there should be nothing from the basic feature set of Twitter missing from Blue Sky by now, and we still can't send pictures in DMs. That's why. Fuck it. If you're concerned about abuse, make it a toggle or something. But like, if I want to be able to send and receive images in DMs, I would like to be able to do that. I don't understand why that isn't allowed. And there's arguments about like, oh, it's on the AT protocol, so it technically would be like, potentially public if someone knew where to look. It's like, okay, so would all the DMs then. So who gives a shit? But wanting to mute reposts of people I follow. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one that's super missing. I like, me personally, I'd probably leave it on just because that's how I find a lot of content, is from other people reposting it. Maybe doing it on an individual basis even would be great. Like, follow someone and then you have a drop down that also includes follow reposts or mute reposts or something. But there's definitely a few folks that I follow for like one reason, and then they repost like in blasts other stuff, and it's like, they advertise their own shit so much. Yeah. Nope, that's absolutely true. I wouldn't mind the granularity of being able to mute when a user reposts their own post. I think that would be a really good one. There's a few people I follow who do that, where they'll post something and then every few weeks they'll repost it again. It's like, please stop doing that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's like, please don't. I don't know. It's and it's frustrating because all the people running Blue Sky are so tech brain poisoned that is their like singular focus, is just inventing shit for the sake of it. Also, yeah, if you want people to see something, just fucking pin it I do that. I don't actually know what's pinned right now. It's probably the video for like the start of the Grand Champion tournament or something. But like I use that all the time. I don't change it often. I change it every couple months probably. I usually will like leave it until the next big event that I want people to notice. Like anniversary stream announcements and extra life stream announcements and stuff like that will usually get the pin. But like, I don't know. It's now you can find blogs more easily. A feature nobody gives a shit about. And this is their most recent announcement since. I think the last one was Addy. A tool that would use AI to build you a new feed or something. And it's like, fucking nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about that. No one... The number of people who use Blue Sky and are trying to like micro manage their feeds are like legitimately 1,000 people or less across the entire platform. It is such a crazy small portion of their user base who are literally just looking for not Twitter. All they care about is that the experience is kind of like Twitter. Like the UX is kind of like Twitter, that the UI is kind of like Twitter, but the UX isn't. They want to feel like they're using Twitter, but not beyond Twitter. That's all that fucking anybody gives a shit about. Yeah, a lot of people will just set that as like, here's my introduction thing to me. And that's fine too. I wouldn't mind if they added the ability to have 2 or even 3 pinned posts, similar to Reddit. Reddit, I think, lets you do 2. But, like, I honestly want to be a fly on the wall in those offices, to be like, what do you fucking do all day? What do the people at Blue Sky as an organization fucking do all day that they come up with this shit as their solution to no problems presented to them? Like, granted, the site's being run by the fucking geniuses who brought you Interrupting Waffles post, and if I get hot, I go in the pool, so why can't my phone? It like blows my mind. The pool one is still like, as someone who has dunked a phone in a pool by accident, knowing microseconds after it became inevitable what a bad situation it was about to be, it's nuts to me that someone who is part of the organization running a modern social media website is like, oh, I dunked my phone in the pool to cool it down because it was hot out. You know what I do when it's the summer and I'm sitting out in the sun and I've got my phone and my phone's starting to get hot? What I'll usually do, because this usually comes up if I'm either like by a lake or on the beach or something like that, I will either put it on my towel and flip the corner over it, or if my shirt is off because I'm taking in sun, I'll put my shirt over it. I just put it in the shade. And these are the people making decisions on this fucking website. Oh, and then there was Aaron, whatever his name is, Aaron Rodricks, I think. Who, the thing that this all blew up over was so insignificant. Like, it's funny to meme on it now, but it was like, oh, he liked a porn post from his main account, from his main work account, his main work Blue Sky account, which, like, in the grand scheme, who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter. However, when he started going into like hyper defense mode over it, then it became a thing. Then it became a whole thing. And now people are getting fucking banned over it, even if they allude to it, to the point where they've had to put out official statements being like, no, we don't ban people over that, but we will ban people for harassment. And it's like, it's so, all the guy would have to do. He also did explain it at one point where it was like, we have a queue of posts that have reports that like moderation reports. In some cases, the moderation report is because it's mislabeled or unlabeled, and it was literally a misclick, which that's fine. That happens to me a bunch on there too. I just like unclick it and then move on. It's like, okay, you probably could have just said that from the get-go and the whole thing would have gone away instantly. Hell, if you laughed about it, if you were kind of in on the joke with it, it would have gone away immediately and no one would remember it by now. But Streisand effect, baby. The funny part is Barbra Streisand at least had a point. Like, you could see her perspective of that situation and be like, oh, yeah, I get it. If anyone's not familiar, assuming I've got this remembered correctly, the Streisand effect got named because Barbra Streisand tried to strike an image from the internet, which was an aerial view of her house that was taken by, I think it was pre-drone, or at least what we have now as drones. I forget how it got taken, but it's just an aerial shot of her house in like Malibu or whatever. And she tried to get it stricken from the internet by way of like complaining about it publicly, which that sort of thing just brings more attention to the thing. So more people saw it, and then people saved it and started spreading it. And by that point, it's just completely game over. At least she had a vague point of like, hey, that's a picture of my fucking house, man. As someone who has had pictures of his house very recently posted online by someone who shouldn't really have had them, like, I get it. I don't think she was wrong to be upset about it. She wasn't even necessarily wrong to complain about it, but it was definitely the wrong call to complain about it the way that she did, because then it just sort of incentivized people to like keep that, spreading and stuff. This has been a weird hangout though. You're totally right. It's nice though. It's nice to just kind of just chat about random shit too. Honestly, the last month has been such a blur that I can barely remember half the shit that happened. The Grand Champion Tournament is up and running. We are picking up speed on getting videos up in a reasonable time frame. It hasn't been the smoothest launch. I will be the first to jump out ahead of that one. I agree. Trust me, I would love for this shit to come out faster on my end. It's mostly a matter of it takes several hours to film. Several more hours to transfer off the SD card too. That's been kind of annoying. I've got these guys. I have a pair of these. 256 gigabyte. Oh, this should make it easy to tell where the focus point is. Somewhere right around here is where the camera's actually focused. But so I have a 256 gigabyte SD card. I've got two of these, but one of them, this one, has been dying, and it's also, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. Oh, you can't see it at all. Oh, you can just barely, if I put it over the light, yeah, there you go. See that little prong coming off the side there? That shouldn't be there. That's from like the very edge of the backing here. It's coming apart, but that's fine because this card has been acting up for a little while. It could record for a couple seconds and then died. So I've now only got one. This is the other one. The one that works that I'm now dropping. So I have one 256 gigabyte SD card. When it's fully empty, this will record around, an hour and a half to 2 hours of video the way that I currently record it, which means I at least have to split the video into two separate recording sessions. And if we include the like results, it's really more like 3. And SD cards are really good at writing fast, not really good at reading fast. So when I then transfer that to a hard drive, to one of my external hard drives that I can actually put it in the editing bay, that shit takes as long to transfer as it took to record. And it's so annoying because it means that I can't just be like, okay, I've got a video of this. It's going to be 3 hours of recording. We'll knock it out this afternoon. Because that 3 hours is actually more like, an hour and a half of recording, and then another hour and a half to 2.5 hours sometimes of transfer, and then another hour and a half of recording. So now we're looking at like 5 or 6 hours, and it's like, okay, that's a lot harder to make work. God forbid if I try to do all 3 parts on the same day. Now we're looking at like 9 hours of stuff. So it just blows up so fast. I think going forward, maybe not for this next one, because the video I want to try to put out next weekend, essentially. I don't think it'll be ready for Friday because the results will need to come out. Like the results, I will know the results by like 12:05 p.m. on Friday. But even if I have the rest of the video done by then, which is the goal, it's what I'm aiming for. Like I still have to record the opening bit, transfer it, edit it. And in the best circumstances, we're probably looking at like 3 to 4 hours for that. And then we have to export it. And then we have to upload it. And then, in the best case scenario, it would be nice to do it as a premiere again, just because like it's fun to pull people in on that. Oh, no worries. I figured I would poke people sometime tomorrow. I figured that the weekend is probably going to be the easiest time for people to get in there. But I'll probably ping folks about it tomorrow just to remind people that it's open. What was I going to say? So like my target is at minimum to have those videos out the weekend of the start of a new heat. The super duper optimistic idea is to have it out for the Saturday of, but it's really going to depend how things kind of look on a given Friday when those happen. The next one, I guess that's going to complicate things. So the next one of these, so not round 1C / I don't know how to label these. I got them labeled on here as 1C, 1D, 1E. The videos I was originally labeling 1A, including in the announcement video, but like I started using heats instead because that is technically more correct, I think. And I just don't know. It's tough to find good ways to label this stuff in ways that make sense. Once we get out of round 3, it's not going to matter because then everything's happening at once. But for this next one, so not 1C, which starts next Friday, but 1D that starts at the end of June, as you can see up there. I'm going to be overseas when that happens. So I'm going to pre-record the round 1D portion. And the results, I'm probably going to bring a bunch of my camera equipment with me. Not this stuff, not the D-pad camera equipment. I'll bring my work camera equipment with me for that trip. And I'll just set it up in the hotel room and do that. Because let's see. So I'm going to check something really fast here. So the place I'm going to be is 6 hours ahead. They're in GMT +2, and right now in Eastern US it's GMT -4. So 6 p.m. for me is when that stuff's going to go live, or is when the results are going to be finalized. So at the very least, I should be able to, and the good news is, so that Friday is a day that I have off, essentially. The work stuff I have going on is going to be that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the following Monday, Tuesday. Everything else is kind of either a travel day on either side of it. Friday is a day that I specifically... So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday between the two events, at which point I have to travel between countries. And I specifically requested, because they originally all right, so on Friday you can travel and then you can just hang in the other location until Monday. And I was like, can I move that? Can I fly on Saturday? Because I would love to be able to take Friday to check out location 1 and then fly on Saturday, and then Sunday take a day to check out location 2. I think that could be fun. And they were like, oh, that seems fine. And that seems like that's all taken care of. So that's all right, cool. So I'll want to be packed by the end of Friday night, but I could certainly set my stuff up and do my recording too. So that one will be a little bit different. And then once we get to round 4 moving forward, which in fairness is like February, I think. Round 4 is going to be, so all of these heats are 64 matches apiece, 128 games. In round 2, there will be 4 heats of that size. In round 3, there will be 2 heats of that size. And then for round 4, we're just going to, the entire rest of the entire remaining surviving set of games is 128 games in 64 matches. So, so that's going to be the point where this starts to speed up a little bit on the production side, which is kind of nice. Because even for that video, I literally will probably just wait on, instead of doing results and then here's the next heat, it'll be like, okay, let's walk through the first half of the round 4 stuff, and then we're going to do the second half of the round 4 stuff with the results mixed in. Because it'll be like, all right, such and such won, and this one, so now our first match is these two, and do it like that. Maybe, I don't know. I think that's how the format will probably go from, going forward from there. Just because it feels silly to walk through the results and go, oh, and so that's the match that's going to happen. And then, an hour and a half later be like, okay, now that here's those matches we said were going to happen. I may as well just combine those. But so round 5, there will only be 64 games left. So there's only 32 matches. So the video is only going to have half as many matches to talk about. Round 6 is only going to have 32 matches. And for sure, from that point forward, it'll be one recording, max for what's left of it. But it'll be interesting. I'm just curious to see how it goes. It's a thing that it was easy enough for the most part for me to put together a prediction list in terms of how I figured people might go. The early matches are a little harder to predict because they're such wild cards, but 2 or 3 rounds in, it starts to take a different shape. But yeah. I'm a little surprised at how poorly I'm doing. I'm in 11th place out of 17. I thought I was going to do a little better than that. And granted, it's still so early. But we shall see. I want to say you're doing quite well, C-Dude. I'm trying to remember. I don't have the video open right now. And now I'm curious. Because I had the list as part of... Let's see. Let's go in here. Yeah, see, dude, you're doing solid right now. You are tied for 4th place. And Elksbrit is tied with me, but has a better maximum than I do, which I think means, so generally the most damage that you can get in your in your predictions comes from a combination of, oof, this game that I predicted to win this match lost it, and I predicted it to win 3 or 4 rounds or something. So now all of those points are lost. Or the flip side, or the extension of that, which is, I predicted this game to win and it lost, and I predicted this game to win and it lost, and those two are literally facing each other, so I've automatically lost that next one entirely. So, like, it's kind of a chain reaction sort of thing. It's very interesting. Like, maybe the most fascinating thing in this entire list is, so tied for first place for current points is Toyota, but also they have the second lowest number of maximum points with 1968, which is fascinating. I have no idea how that happened. Yeah, I don't know. That's super surprising to me to be, number 2 by tiebreaker, but second from the bottom in terms of like projected or possible, I guess, final scores. You are in last place for current points, but the gap is quite small across the board. The difference between you and first place is 9 points. Like, it's very tight still. There are 3 people with 2 points or fewer ahead of you, and you are ahead of. So Nano has 4 more points than you, but you've got almost 20 more max points left than they do, and you're also ahead of Toyota in that regard too. So, like, it's very interesting. I feel like I want to make like a graph with like 2 axes to it, based off of like current points and max points and stuff like that. Have fourth in both current and potential. That's true, yeah, because Glaceon can hit 2010, SD Hero can hit 2009, Alx can hit 2008, and then both you and Pepe, who are tied for fourth, can also hit 2007. You are also tied for first for maximum number of correct picks still available. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who can all get 1,008 picks correct. And that is the best score right now. That is Viral, Hasty, Sea-Dude, Pepe, SD Hero, and DJ Glaceon, with TMNT Fan and Alex Britt just 1 point behind, or 1 pick behind that at 1,007. And then there's a gap. Then it gets interesting. Panda123 can get 1,002 picks correct, and then everybody else, like, I'm next with 999, and then everybody else is below that. I like me a graph. There's some interesting ways that I could do a graph of that. You could have it change over time and stuff, but oh, yikes. Yeah, that's not gonna help. Which makes it fascinating that you still have fourth place for max points if your winner for the entire conference is gone. I need to come up with a way for people to be able to predict the final winner, and I need to come up with it pretty fast, because I don't know, because I can't do it the same way, because it's a 4-way free-for-all type match for the... So we're not... So here's the secret sauce. We're not going to use challenge for the final match, because you can't do a voting-based free-for-all, which is what they call anything with more than 2 competitors. And they also won't allow predictions on there. So I am figuring that out at the moment, and maybe it's a matter of people commenting on a video, or people doing a poll in Discord, or people doing I don't know, because you can see who, or augmented with Patreon or something too. But like, so if you do one through Discord, you can see who voted for what, which is the important part. I need to be able to see who voted for what, and that isn't the deciding vote. That's just people predicting their winners So I got to figure out how that's going to work, and that needs to happen fast because the longer we wait, the more information people have, which is not helpful because that skews things a bit. And like, granted, in the cosmic sense, it is still fair in the sense that I have no idea. Like, I'm not looking at how anybody's like predicting or anything, and everybody has a functionally equal chance of having their predictions rise or fall, at a moment's notice. But the sooner I get that sorted out, the better it'll be. I was originally going to try to get it taken care of for this next round, but I don't think there's enough time. So I think that's going to be a preferably by the end of 1C sort of thing. I think that's the only way that makes sense, really. I was debating having it run through the entirety of round 1, but I was worried about, like, is that going to fuck shit up if someone, goes, oops, my pick for the third bracket is gone, so I guess I just won't pick that. And because there's such a huge variety across these brackets, it's not like someone can vote for, well, whatever wins the Heartless Conference will win. Because, like, that could be fucking anything. So we will see. I don't know. I'm going to figure that out soon, though. I should really rapidly run through stuff we've been doing. I was starting that by talking about Grand Champion, and then we got sucked into a longer thing for that. Games that are kind of on pause at the moment, but we're coming back soon. To varying degrees of soon, I should clarify. By soon, I mean like this summer sometime. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I want to be bringing back pretty soon. Mario Kart World, I want to bring back possibly this coming week. Maybe not this coming week, but the week after, more than likely, because I would like to wrap that up. It's not like on the precipice of being done, but I have Grand Prix to do, and after that, I'm heading back to the overworld map to pick up the leftover stuff, and I have a tracker for it. In fact, I say I have a tracker for it. What I mean is there is a tracker that I have made a point of meticulously, to the best of my ability, adding my stuff to. It looks like there are 121 Peach medallions left, 149 P-switches. I got to collect 21,000 more coins. I am halfway through all the driving I have to do, 2,500 out of 5,000 kilometers. Glide kilometers, I'm 3/4 of the way there. I only have 50K left to go. Performing tricks, I need to do 22,000 more, but also if I'm just doing tricks constantly, then that actually won't be too bad. And then drive races, I'm at 150 out of 500. The Grand Prix will knock another 50-ish off of there. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll just start doing more Grand Prix and knockout tours just for the sake of hitting that while I'm getting other stuff taken care of. And I have to complete the Special Cup in Grand Prix mode, which only unlocks once I've won all the other Grand Prix. We just have a bunch of stickers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 12 plus 1 row plus 1. No, I was about to do the math totally wrong there. I have about 600 stickers left to go. I think that's right, which is less than half, which is good because that means we're on pace, really, in terms of how fast we picked up stickers and things as we... I guess it's not like a pace thing because I guess you pick up stickers by doing stuff, but having less than half to go after doing the whole world map once for question block panels it feels like a good pace. I wonder if a knockout tour counts as one race or as 6 or however many it is. I want to say knockout tours are usually 4 or 5. But that's a good question. I actually don't know. They probably count as 1. So actually that's going to be more like, so I've done, I think, 3 Grand Prix. So I have 5 more to go, and those are 4 races apiece, I think. So 20 there, plus the other ones will press. So we're really looking more like 30. But I don't know. Maybe I'll maybe what I'll wind up doing is I'll do the Grand Prix so I get the special cup. Then I'll go back to the world map to collect the Peach medallions and P-switches. And then I'll go do whatever remaining races I have. And then I'll go and get whatever like missing things that I'll have for like coins and tricks and stuff. As like kind of a finale thing there. I'm sure it's probably a dreadfully boring series for some folks. Arguably even a lot of folks. It's been kind of enjoyable for me though. I actually feel it's been pretty zen. Even when it's frustrating, there's something that's kind of calming about doing it. I actually like it quite a lot. When Mario Kart World is done, I do want to play Mario Tennis Fever and do a similar thing for it. Good news there is it's way less of a time commitment because the story mode that gets you a good chunk of the stuff in the game is like 3 hours long. And I don't even know if I'm going to give a shit to, unlock the rest of stuff, which is usually just playing tennis matches. But at the very least, I want to check out story mode. And after that is done, maybe I check out Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. It just came in. It just came in so much that I don't even have the sealed, the plastic wrap off of it yet. I don't mind it, though. We haven't seen it in the brackets yet, have we? Mario Kart World? Yes. Yes, it has been in the brackets. It was in the first one, I think. It won over something, in fact. If I remember correctly, that is. Let's see. Because that was one of the Mega Man versus Mario Kart ones, I believe. Oh, nope, it lost. Okay, which is good because it was up against Mega Man for DOS, which, in my opinion, is going to be one of the heavier hitters of the entire tournament. I don't know that for certain, but it sure feels like one that's gonna run a long way. Yeah, no, it lost like it should have. Mega Man DOS, absolutely. I even as someone who's like, I'm appreciative of the few solo games that I have on the channel performing, reasonably well in the tournament here and there. Mario Kart World is one where it's like, that one was always kind of niche appeal in terms of how we were approaching the game in the Let's Play. And Mega Man DOS is still to this day an extremely quotable game, or an extremely quotable series on the channel. So I was very happy to see Mega Man DOS winning that one. I absolutely bet on DOS as well. Now that I've noticed that the plastic wrap is still on this, I'm like, no, I got to take it off. I got to take the thing off. And of course, it is falling into pieces so fast. But yeah, Mario Kart World, I'm going to be getting back into that. I might record some this weekend, but the videos are not going to go up this coming week. This week, I'm going to be focusing on Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and Kirby Air Riders. And you can tell I'm going to focus on it because I don't have a backlog left. We're out of Resident Evil videos for the time being. I actually have to let Siege know that, like, hey, we can try doing remote recording again, like we did for some of the end of Resident Evil 4. Let's just assume they're all instant classics. Some of them were. A lot of them were. Some of them were a little more of a miss than a hit. The racing game curse continues because I think Mega Man Battle and Chase was one of our more, I don't want to say joyless, but less great series on the Mega Man side. In fact, let's see. Well, I'll look at it later. I was going to say, did the other, because we have three separate matchups in somehow. I don't even. This was maybe the most interesting of the trivia that I found. There's trivia little bits that that wound up sprinkled through the whole thing, but in the first bracket, and this doesn't happen anywhere else. In the first bracket, in the first round, we have three separate instances of a game that is titled just Mega Man going up against a Mario Kart game. Mega Man for the NES is up against a Mario Kart game. Mega Man for DOS is was up against a Mario Kart game, and Mega Man for Game Gear is up against a Mario Kart game. And those are the only games that are just called Mega Man. Fascinating stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where things go from here. I did realize during editing that for the prediction rankings, I really should be presenting those in the opposite order. I should be presenting them from the bottom up. I think that preserves the drama and the suspense a little bit longer. So that'll probably be how that goes. But yeah. Steve Harvey. I like to think of it as taskmastering it, but either way. Yeah, I'm excited to see where the rest of these go. I'm trying to find a good tempo for bothering people about it / reminding people that it exists once we have these videos coming out closer to the start / at the start of he's literally the first Family Feud host to do the answers in ascending order. I could see, in fairness, I could see an argument for doing it the other way, because you start with the more obvious stuff where you're like, oh, duh. And then you get to the lower ones and you're like, what? How the hell? So like I could see it going both ways. There's a justification for both, I would say. But yeah, I think what I'll probably be doing is so the goal will be as close to the Friday that starts around as possible, probably Saturday or Sunday. There will be the original video, which I'll have a big push for. And then I'll probably remind people each Saturday after that. So the second Saturday and the third Saturday, I will probably do a ping. People are going to leave the Discord server because I'm going to be pinging everyone almost, if not weekly, 2 out of every 3 weeks for most of the next year. And then I will probably give people a final reminder, either like the Wednesday or the Thursday, right before, so 1 or 2 days before it wraps, just as the hey, if you haven't done it yet, this is your last chance kind of thing. Yeah, I mean it's not just for the predictions, but also because the predictions. Once round 4 starts, which is in August, once the 4th bracket starts, which is in August, the predictions, those are closed for good. So predictions won't be a thing anymore. No worries. I'll see you over there, Joe. But yeah, once the 4th, it's true. I want to make, at the very least for this second one, I do want to allow people to enter in if they didn't enter in the first one, because it is still entirely possible, even if it's unlikely, it is still possible that someone could only enter into 3 of these brackets and still wind up winning in the end if their predictions are just really laser focused. It is possible. It's not likely, but it is a possibility. So I want to make sure that that's the case. However, yeah, for the third one forward, I probably will. That does make sense. I probably will just make a prediction roll. I will probably literally I won't even ask. I'll probably just add everybody who's done a prediction up to that point. Again, is it hypothetically possible for someone to only win with 2 brackets? Yes, but yeah, exactly. I know who 16 of the people are. There's still a person I don't know who it belongs to, The one that's a hasty prediction bracket, I don't know who that belongs to. It's not attached to an account. There's nothing in there that identifies who made it. And I'd be less worried about it, except they're currently in third place. So this is someone who could win prizes. Like, I need to find out who that is. And I would like to try to find this out before we get too far in, because if we wait too long to get this sorted, someone who is fully lying could just come out and claim it. So I gotta figure that out. But yeah. But yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes. It's so funny to do the first round of voting and then be like, cool, these are the 32 game, or sorry, these are the 64 games that won in this first set of matches. We will be voting on the next round for them in October. That's when that's when round 2 starts, because we have 8 3-week heats. Excuse me, before we get back around to the start again. And then I think round 3 starts on New Year's Day. Like, it's so funny to be like, all right, we get 1 vote for all of these within the first 6 months. And then the second vote will take us through into the next year. It's like, oh my God. But I don't know. This just seemed fun. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime sort of opportunity to run something like this. Under my account on Challenge, there's actually a precursor to this because I was testing this out a couple years ago with 768, which is 3 times 256 instead of 4 times 256. And I forget how I was going to lay that out. I think the idea was that in the interest of giving them a sporting chance, the first 256 games were going to get a bye into the second round. And so games 257 to 768 were all going to like have matches or something. But that's so many buys. That's way too many. And honestly, hitting 1,000 games, then hitting 1,024 games, and then having our 15-year anniversary all in such a tight proximity within 4 months. That was just kind of like, the timing is perfect. It's a beautiful synchronicity. So yeah, I think that was a fun way to do that. It's all planned by the aliens. Yeah. It's another instance of us just having a lucky break. It's the same as, I think, like, Thousand Arms ended on either its 99th or 100th episode, just by chance. Smash Ultimate, I definitely massaged a little bit right at the end, because I was like, it'd be kind of neat if we ended World of Light on its 100th episode. So we had a very short 99th. But granted, there was enough stuff going on in the 100th that it honestly made more sense to separate it anyway. And there's a few others like that just end in really interesting ways along those lines. And this was just another instance of that. So, yeah. I think the 100th and 200th episodes of Tears of the Kingdom also wound up being kind of big spectacle episodes too. So that was neat. It's going to be very fascinating once... as Pokemon Blue starts climbing the ladder, as we get those VODs up, as that starts climbing the ladder in terms of longest games being played, because we're already up to like 26 hours. I think we're at like 26 right now, which isn't very far up the list. But the fun irony of all of this is that games move faster up that list as they pack on hours, because there's fewer games. There's fewer games that have gone 30 hours, 50 hours, 80 hours, and so on. The real fun one, once I can actually get some time with Siege, We're going to do an intro for Doom the Dark Ages, as well as Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Because there are, let's see, there are 23 more Cult of the Lamb streams that are ready to go up once we get that broken. Because they're all technically part of one series, and I wanted to not have like, here's a bunch of Cult of the Lamb, and then here's Doom the Dark Ages from 3 months before that last Cult of the Lamb, and that was actually the same night as Cult of the Lamb 30. Like, I think it makes more sense to just put them up in the order that they happened. Which does occasionally mean long stretches like this where there aren't any because we need to coordinate live intro stuff. But I just think it'd be too confusing in some ways if anyone does wind up really trying to dig in on the 90 Minute Nails Let's Rip and Tear series to like have them in like this weird staggered order where you're bouncing back and forth in time a bunch. But we have 23 more episodes or 23 more streams of Cult of the Lamb. And as of that first 37 streams, Felice is up to almost 72 hours. Adding in those other 23, like, it's going to put it in the top 10 for sure. Like, it's probably like they probably have at least a good 110 hours. Actually, probably more than that. It's probably more like 120 hours. And, you know, I don't know. I'm sure that CJ and Felice are probably just like super, oh, God damn it, are probably like super busy with real life stuff. And all that jazz. And I'm not going to like, you know, I actually have been meaning to like message them to just like double check that like, is stuff cool? Everything okay? Do you need anything from me? But I also don't want to pry, and I don't want to like be like, hey, I'm messaging you because I want you to make more streams. Like, that's not cool. But yeah, like Cult of the Lamb is, because last I saw, Felice had no real intention of stopping anytime soon. So Cult of the Lamb may very well wind up being one of the very longest series on the channel. So they've done 60 streams. If they went to like 75, we'll say, there's an extremely high likelihood that it'll wind up being the third longest series on the entire channel in the end. Behind Tears of the Kingdom, which is 196 hours. Like, Felice would genuinely have to do the better part of like 100 streams to get there. And then in the end, I mean, Pokemon Blue is for sure going to be in the realm of 300 hours by the time we're done with it. And I don't see anybody, myself included, going beyond that ever. I think that's going to be pretty permanently the longest series that we ever do. Unless we live another like 400 years and keep doing Let's Predict the Super Bowl. Assuming the Super Bowl still exists come the 25th century. Then it's a whole different ball game. Well, not if it survives. I guess it would have to not survive to become a whole different ball game. I'm also curious where Pokemon Insurgence is going to end up on this list. It's currently at a little over 55 hours. If I had to take a guess, to get to the end of the game, including potential grinding, we're probably looking at like 10 to 15 hours. If I have to start grinding the old-fashioned way, it's going to be like 10 to 15 hours. If not, it might be more like, I don't know, 8 to 10, something like that. But then we've got post-game, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know a goddamn thing about... I mean, to be fair, I don't know anything about how any of this game, how any of Insurgents goes from here, but... Prediction made for chaos. I'm scared. Oh, and Insurgents? Yeah, me too. I'm a little bit devastated with how catastrophic the 22 episodes since we brought it back last year have gone. I believe I'm about to be on my G team. I have a hard time with that too. It actually bugs Sarah a lot, and I always feel bad about this. But I have an extremely hard time. I guess selecting stuff wouldn't be as bad, but like I can't read or write while listening to somebody. I have a really hard time with that, which gets tricky because sometimes there will be a thing that comes up, and I just got to read this real quick, and then Sarah will be asking me like, hey, we're figuring something out about like the driveway getting refinished and like the specific dollar amounts and the timing and the dates and stuff, and my brain is still kind of latched onto this other thing. So even while I'm trying to pay attention, I'm like, wait, say that again. I'm sorry. So sometimes that is a little bit tricky for me, just mentally to keep that all in one place, but yeah, no, Insurgents is going to be rough. I'm in the same spot I was back in 15, where my main goal, my number one goal right now is to survive one gym battle. We brought it back last year, and we have yet to win one gym fight since bringing Insurgents back. I want to win one gym battle before what feels like an inevitable loss. It's not inevitable. It's not entirely inevitable, but we're reaching a point where the available makeup of my team is getting really bad. If it's the gym battle, I believe it is. I am going up, or not even going up against. I have already fought and lost against Calreth. The one who's got like Rainstorm as the theme or something. The bitch of it is, I had an excellent Pokemon for taking down Calreth. Literally one-shotted his Mega. And then a fucking Dragonite with weakness policy. And then a held item that I've already forgotten what it was. Such a fucking pain in my ass. Hurricane in the rain. I think I did something that got rid of the rain also. I'm trying to remember if I got rid of the rain or if that was part of my upcoming strategy. Because I thought I got rid of the rain. Because I was like, if I get rid of... There's a 0% chance that nearly all of the mechanics that Calreth is going to play with rely on rain. So if I can knock out that rain fast, that should make my life a lot easier. The ideal situation is probably throwing in a grass Pokemon that has Sunny Day and Toxic. I guess it doesn't have to be all that because, like, I would want the Toxic for Dragonite, but also, fuck weakness policy. Fuck weakness policy. Fairly new held item, and its only presence up until, like, this most recent Pokemon game, like Legends ZA, I believe. It's always been a very late and hard to get post-game item. And here's a gym leader with it. It's like, fuck off. I think it showed up in the ballpark of Sun and Moon. I believe it was 3DS era. But it was like post-game, like battle tower type shit. Like you had to go really far and far out of your way to actually get your hands on it. And Calreth just had it. It was like, oh, okay, cool. Neat. The good news is when X and Y, okay. If/when I do finally lose the Nuzlocke, then we can just start playing it normally. And the difficulty, it'll still be hard, but it'll be a world of difference from that point forward. Yeah, weakness policy is fucking insane. it's very reminiscent, ironically, of the Moody Smeargle. And the funniest part is the episode count is almost the same as well. I want to say the Moody Smeargle happened in episode 21 of Insurgents. And the battle with Calreth that I lost was the 22nd episode since we revived it. And if you want to get cute with it, that first episode after we came back was almost entirely, actually not even almost, I think it was completely just planning. So it'd be the 21st episode after I actually got on the road. I believe it does have multi-scale. I think that came up in conversation. I think Joe Body actually mentioned that. What does multi-scale do? Oh, right. Multi-scale is the one where if they're at full health, they take half damage. Yeah. Fucking bullshit. So yes, Stealth Rock or any kind of poison at all. So the real trick, where I fucked up was I tried to kill it with a super effective move that it then took half damage from. I forget if weakness policy fires before or after super effective damage too. So it might have even been a quarter of the usual damage. But then so even if it didn't, half damage right away, and then its defenses got boosted like crazy. I think it was defenses? I don't even remember, but is it offenses? Oh, okay. But then it just started fucking one-shotting me left and right. So the trick is going to have to be some kind of Stealth Rock. Would not Icy Rock. Isn't there a... No, there isn't. I was like, isn't there an ice version of Stealth Rock these days? But I don't think there is. There's Stealth Rock. There's... I was going to say Arena Trap. That's not right. Spikes. Yeah, Spikes, Stealth Rock, and Toxic Spikes. There's a part of me that's worried that Stealth Rock might trigger the weakness policy too. Oh, you're right. Flying. Does flying actually... I thought flying actually doesn't prevent spikes from landing. Mega Evolution of Steelix lets you use a fire version of Stealth Rock. What the hell? When did flying become immune to spikes? Because I thought that I've used spikes on flying types before. Maybe I'm mistaken. Okay. Does it also let you avoid... Spikes is technically a ground type move? I thought that was a normal type. Damn. Interesting. Poison also soaks up the toxic spikes. Yes, I am aware of that one. Adjusting my seat a little bit. There we go. But yeah, Insurgents is going to be nuts. But the plan is I'm going to be bringing that back sometime in the next couple weeks. It's going to be a slow restart because I am going to have to rebuild my team from absolute scraps. I believe I have 7 Pokemon and 3 eggs. So that first episode back is going to be me running around like an idiot just to hatch the eggs and see what the fuck we even have to work with. Because we don't have much. One of our surviving Pokemon is an Arcan. So that reduces the pool of viable Pokemon by 1. It's not going to be good. It's really not. The other thing I'm probably going to do, because we can soar now, with the Pikachu alternate thing, is I'm probably going to see about catching Pokemon in areas and routes that we haven't encountered any viable, eligible catches yet. I'm going to have to literally just scan through and see where we have and haven't caught stuff yet. Anything to increase our numbers. Anything. because we're down to 10, and that's bad. That's really bad. I do have to decide who I'm going to fight in the sky. That's going to be a whole thing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Other stuff. Echoes of Wisdom. We'll probably bring that back later in the summer. It's really going to depend how other stuff goes. Why Fight Sky? Try Bud Dry. What? Oh, God. I do want to get back into Zelda stuff and Zelda adjacent stuff. It's mostly just been planning in general. It's been all over the place. So many weekends of mine. It's been, so starting with the week before the anniversary stream, almost every weekend of mine from the last weekend of March to the last weekend of July has something going on. I'm fucking exhausted and stuff keeps coming up. And it's mostly stuff I can't reasonably say no to, which has been a lot. I've honestly been extremely burned out because of that. Because it used to be, not to say like, man, I wish when I was I miss when I was unemployed, because that's not true. But during that period, it was like, okay, I can do editing during the day in between the job hunt, and then weekends, you know, I can relax a little, I can record stuff, and I can get some more editing done if I've got time. Now it's like, okay, I work, and then at least twice a week, currently 3 times a week, I have just enough time to like scarf down food and get ready for a stream. And then the other 2 nights a week are ostensibly supposed to be me spending time with Sarah, and half the time I've got my work laptop out working on stuff. And then we get the weekends, which would normally be when I would catch up on that work. But for the last 2 months, every weekend has had stuff going on, so I haven't been able to catch up on anything, which is why we keep having 1, maybe 2 videos at a time for a while now. I just have not been able to get the time to put out more, which is frustrating because we have a lot of series that are mid-stride that would be good to work down a little bit. And like, we'll get there, but yeah, that's always the trick. Having the free time during unemployment is great, but having no money and feeling like a lump is not great. And we're not quite at the point where this could be anything resembling full time either, so that would be the thing that would ultimately change everything, is if this was ever at a spot where it could become a full-time gig, especially if I have like my student loans paid off and the mortgage is, you know, a lot lower than where it is now in total. Like that would be, you know, an option potentially, but that is not happening anytime soon. What else we got? Pokemon Legends ZA. We're going to do more of that when we have Peter around. He was almost able to make it out last weekend, but something wound up coming up. So we'll see if we get some in this weekend. If not, it's okay. I'm kind of trying to internalize a vague hierarchy of series in terms of which ones should take priority when I've got multiple things backlog wise, and also which ones should take priority for me to solo if need be. And for the time being, I have solo games I'm in the middle of, like Mario Kart World, so I'm not going to like start doing solo stuff of other things, with the exception of Sonic Racing Cross Worlds I might solo, because it's not going to be a very long series. We've recorded 7 or 8 episodes of it, and it's only going to be like 25 in total. So once that gets rolling, if I don't have Jeff or Peter around for more episodes of that, I'm just going to record more myself, and that's fine. For the actual Supersonic Let's Play, once we're back into it, I'd prefer to have more people around for it, but I don't know. The world keeps spinning, and I'm only getting older, so we might see more solo stuff from me out of our main content going forward, if need be, just to keep the engine purring. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. fully reliant on whenever John is around next. He is basically, I think he's going to step into the gym in the next episode, and then we're going to have our face off, and then the winner is going to continue. I hope I didn't come off as like negging or anything during the Soul Silver videos, because on the one hand, hello Gollux, hello, we're gonna be wrapping up in just a minute. I'm just kind of we've been rambling, so I'm kind of trying to fly through the schedule bits a little bit here, but yeah, I hope I didn't come off as like negging to John during that. During the edit I was like, I might have been a little bit too in there, but it was kind of a combination of, one, we had been there for hours as he was kind of like slowly making our way through that chapter of the game, a chapter that is very short. I believe I took 6 episodes to get from the second gym to the third. In fairness, one of those episodes was very long, but that was also me doing a Voltorb flip, which I was also like, John, I'm not going to do the puzzle minigame for you, especially for hours, to get you a Pokemon that you can't even evolve all the way until the end of the game. I could barely justify myself doing it. And even then, that's kind of like, that's sort of, ace up my sleeve type situation. If I can get myself a Dragonite when the time is right at the very end of everything, then awesome. Though in fairness, I'm trying to remember if I'm even going to be able to use one before we hit the Elite Four. So I don't know, but you put the fear of Miltank into John, so we start doing everything to prepare for. And if he wins, he'll probably have a hard time in this face-off as a result. Oh, I'm kind of expecting to have a hard time with this one, to be honest. The benefit that I have going into this is that his type variability is dog shit right now. His team makeup is actually really bad and exploitable. He's got too much water and too much poison. And like, granted, I don't have a lot that I can do about that at the moment, but he's failing to make, I think, some smart team versatility decisions that he should be making. They raised the E4 levels in Heart Gold Soul Silver to the Champions Ace over 45, but I don't know if it's over 55. Actually, I have a note file that I made well in advance of the game, so I would forget any specifics beyond what I wrote down, and what I wrote down was literally just the numbers. So the Elite Four, the first, I guess it's Will. Will's ace is level 42, and then I want to say Bertha. Karen, I think. Her ace is 47, and then the champion's ace appears to be 50. And not only is the champion not over 55, but I forget if it's Brock or Lieutenant Surge that I marked as Kanto 1, but one of them, their ace is level 54, so even they're not above 55. So yeah, so Dragonite's not an option until post-game. So that's fine. Unless I do have one sneaky option that I could use. I do have one sneaky option, and that option is I bring a Dragonair at the level cap into the Elite Four, and I try to find any excuse I can to get it experience within those 5 battles, and pray to Christ that I can squeeze 5 levels out across 30 Pokemon. Because if I can, then I'll have a perfectly... I don't think it is either. If I could make it happen, that would be a viable, usable Dragonite for the last face-off. But I do think it's probably not likely. Also, Dragonair isn't good. It's true, and also the types there are what? Psychic, Poison, Fighting, Dark, and then Dragon. So none of those are good defensively. So yeah. All right, yeah. I just wanted to have a Dratini. I don't think I've ever had a Dratini in one of our padlocks. If I was hyper aggressive with it and somehow able to get those 5 levels before Lance, then I could TM. But that would take... Oh, wait a minute. Holy shit. No. This is so much easier. I've actually... I don't even have to stress this. We're probably going to pick up rare candies here and there in the game. Not a ton, but a couple. So depending on how many rare candies, if any, in fairness, I might not find any, and then it won't matter anyway. But if I find a couple of those, I bring Dratini with, I bring Dragonair with me. I get to whatever the level is. It is icky. I guess it is probably a rules decision situation. There's also the question of if I wait until I'm actively already started battling Elite Four members, is that allowed? Because I can get levels from the fights. I suppose there's also an argument for, the rule to match along with you have to be under a cap to have a Pokemon be valid for gym fights, and also you can't use rare candies once you've entered or something. I think the Elite Four cap needs to be 50. 42 feels like it's going to be fucking brutal trying to get through Lance. Because absolutely none of our Pokemon will be above level, 45 or something by the time we get there. But also, Dowsing Machine while moving sounds amazing. I think it'll have to be 50. I was kind of leaning 50, to be honest. The alternative was to not go off of Will's ace, but go off of Karen's ace, which is, 47, I think? Which might be kind of the happy medium of you're starting the Elite Four with the final Elite Four members ace as the cap, and then you're hoping to gain the levels to be directly competitive with Lance after that. Yeah. No, and I think that's a fair enough call. It was just something that came to mind. It was like, wait a minute, I'm forgetting an option here. For the same reason that, and I think that's for the same reason as, if you go into a gym below the cap and then leave and do other shit, you can't then level your Pokemon up and continue as if you hadn't broken the level cap. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, John would never... I would never hear the end of that from John. Even though, in fairness, that was also technically my strategy in Pokemon Let's Go. And then the gods of Pokemon decided to just curb stomp me in the middle of what I thought at the time was one of the cleverer plays I'd ever put together, which was literally, let's see how this battle goes. The next chapter is so short, it'll take less than an hour, but John's been using his candies and I haven't, so I can crank my levels instantly for the fight, and I go second if I lose, and then I'll have a way better chance in the next fight. And then the game went, psych, here have some Mega Stones. That one bummed me out. Because I was trying to be good about, let's not use the Kanto starters. Let's try to put some variability in the team. And the game was like, nah, you're supposed to be a total Gen 1-er the whole way. I was like, God damn it. Anyway, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That's where that is. No updates on Mega Man Daily weekday stuff. I know it's been years at this point. The big video is coming. I'm still working on it. It's so much. It's a lot. I hate to keep dangling that as much as I have, because it's just been dragging out forever. But when the video is done and when it's out, I think people will understand both why it as a project has taken so long, and why I'm not like frantically finishing it as fast as possible either. But also, the big video has nothing to do with Alex Yard. I saw there was someone who made a comment that was kind of positing that as a guess. Alex Yard has absolutely nothing to do with the big video. I'm still not even sure if that's going to be a thing either, to be dead honest, just because fuck them. But I'm certainly not putting the Alex Yard video ahead of anything else that I'm working on. Let me put it that way. I might work on it while I'm on my work trip, when I don't have real access to my computer for proper editing. Like that's how that's gonna go. Just to calm any fears folks might have that I'm like sidelining real D-pad stuff for what amounts to a drama video. I'm not. That's not the case. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, I mentioned that. Hoping to have the first video of that for Monday. I am going to try to finish up the script either tonight or tomorrow during the day and then shoot it. And then I've already edited the entire video that the intro is attached to. So that'll be fast. Kirby Air Riders is not the case, and the opening video for that is quite long. So that might show up more like midweek. But the goal is to have both of them up this week, and I think we can make that happen. I think the team I picked up for Let's Go also didn't have anyone mega capable in it. I forget if I don't think I had anyone who, well, because I'm trying to remember, the other Megastones were also in Let's Go, right? Or did you have to beat the Pokemon Masters in order to get them? I'm trying to remember. Other than the starters. Mentioned Kirby Air Raiders. Resident Evil Requiem. We started playing that one. We're out of videos that we've recorded so far, but we did get that started. It's been pretty good so far, actually. I'm surprised that Siege opted for first-person view for Leon as opposed to third-person over the shoulder, because it does feel like the game is intended to be in first-person for Grace and third-person for Leon, generally speaking. But I'm controlling Grace, he's controlling Leon, and if he wants to do first person for that, he's more than welcome to. Star Force 3 post game and Kingdom Hearts continuing are both going to be dependent on when we get Jeff and when he's got time for stuff. It's a blend. Oh, like there's times where it makes more sense for one versus the other. That's fair. Super Mystery Dungeon. I have not started recording new episodes for that yet. But I am expecting to start recording more episodes of that very soon. Oh, there's like a stamp on the back of the mic here. And it's solid, like it's thick. It was just like, what the hell happened to my mic? I am going to be recording some more of that soon. I want to make sure to get Mario Kart World and Pokemon Insurgents moving before that. But I figure Super Mystery Dungeon. No, I know. I've been dragging. We're getting there. I'm sorry. I'm like literally looking at the list of stuff and like flying and trying to fly through them faster. But yeah, Super Mystery Dungeon. I don't know. We'll probably be starting on that again around the time of the next Hangout, I think. Tomorrow off work, yeah. Oh God, I actually have to wake up kind of on the early side because I get my Mario Party game at noon. Oh yeah, we spent some time yelling at the world a little bit. It was nice. It was a little cathartic though. I've been stressed and depressed and stuff, so it's nice to kind of let that out once in a while. We talked about Insurgents. Grand finale games. We started putting out more episodes of Heavy Rain and 999 and Sly Cooper. I think we're probably going to more or less try to stick with Peter and Sarah and I as the crew for that, or at least a minimum crew for that, for each of those. 999 for sure, because we're literally doing voices for them. But I think Sly Cooper and Heavy Rain, I think having Peter pilot for that right now is good. I think, by the way, the plan for both of those games, because both of those games have multiple endings, and I saw people kind of talking about that a little bit. 999, I haven't decided how we're handling the endings situation with that just yet. I think we're going to play it a little by ear. But I would say that we're almost certainly going to do more than one ending at the very least. I don't know if there's conditions for getting a best ending that involve clearing out more stuff. It could literally be a lot of visual novels with branching paths like that do have a tendency to be like, once you've seen all of the scenes, you can then, whatever. But I think we're gonna feel it out for now. Nothing set in stone. For Heavy Rain, how that one's gonna work. Skip around after being the game once. That's kind of what I was hoping. Well, so I'm aware of the flowchart. What I'm less aware of is how much you can jump around, because I want to say that I could swear that the ported version for the Switch or whatever allowed you to jump around more easily or something. There was a core difference between the DS and I think Switch version of the game, and I don't remember what the hell it was off the top of my head. Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe it was that the flowchart does allow you to jump around and Switch one does less. I don't remember, but jump to spots where the path branches. Okay, that's good. Then yeah, that'll simplify things a lot. Also, yes, good to hear, Alexpert. I'm glad that you're doing better since then. That's a lot to kind of deal with, especially out of nowhere like that. That's kind of a big thing to shoulder, unexpectedly. On the Heavy Rain side of things, so I forget whether Peter is aware of this. Sarah is aware of this because I did mention this part to her. So there is a point in the game in Heavy Rain where you can start getting really penalized for doing poorly in scenes. Scenes can turn out badly. Bad endings to scenes can lead to different follow-up scenes. And on top of that, there comes a point where you can do badly enough in scenes that your character can die, and then they fully exit the story. You skip entire chapters at that point, including all the way up to all of your playable characters, if I remember correctly, can die, and then the game just kind of ends. You get the worst ending, essentially, or maybe technically the second worst ending for spoilery reasons, but if that winds up happening, especially if it happens well before the standard end of the game, we will probably do a second run through, probably with Sarah piloting, because she's much more familiar with the PlayStation button layout, just to see how we can do in a second run through. I think technically I have not seen the best ending of the game. I've seen very close to the best, but there's definitely one bad ending that's extremely easy to get, because the game kind of nudges you into doing something that's actually a bad result somewhat frequently. And it's kind of hard to avoid, at least on your first playthrough, getting that particular bad ending. But so, yeah, we're going to at least do it through once. And if we really, really fuck it, we'll do it twice. And then we'll probably be good from there. Unless we all die again, and then maybe I'll pilot for a third run and we'll get to the end. Sly Cooper, we're, I think, just under halfway through. We've beaten at least the first two bosses. I forget whether we started the third world or not. But there's 5, I think, worlds in total. So we're like 40% of the way there, roughly. At some point, we will probably, the three of us, also get into Quest 64 some more. And I don't know what we'll do as far as Deus Ex, but we did hit Sean %. That's true. We did hit Sean. Nope, Sean %. We didn't hit Sean. Oh, no. Oh, my God. We hit Sean %. We got to Sean %. Oh, fuck. Okay. I now know nothing more of what happens. Okay, that's good. That's good. The more blind you are to the story of this game, the better. There's some truly shocking shit that goes down, and some very interesting plot twists as well. 1,000 Times Resist we may try to come back to only once the other games have all been cleared. That way it can remain the like finale of that series. And I think that's basically it out of everything that we've got going on here. Stream things. Ratatat streams are going well. We've done, I think, about 26 hours. Strats is up to, I think, level 43. So doing okay so far. We're about 8% of the way there experience-wise. We're going to keep going. We've got a little under 300 hours left to go. It'll be an interesting experience, to say the least. SMZ 3 combo multi-world randomizer with Shad is going well. I'm finally at a point where I can start making progress in more dungeons. I can clear another dungeon, and I have 2 others that I can do partly. I was BK'd for a good chunk of stream 2, I think. And then Shad was pretty stuck for stream 3. At least I think that's the order of things there. Ugh. Yeah. I was stuck for most of 2. He was stuck for most of 3. And now we're both kind of unstuck and able to progress. I'm going to be I can now get to the Dark World pretty easily, which is great. And if I can get myself a key to Ganon's Tower, then, or Aghanim's Tower, or Castle Tower, what have you, then I can march up to Aghanim, beat him, and then I'll have an easy warp. It'll simplify stuff so much. Metroid is going well. Metroid Prime 3, we ended on kind of a down note for the last stream. So I'm actually going to be stitching the next one onto the end of it because it's probably going to be like an hour. So it'll just be one big long finale there. And then we're going to start Metroid Prime Federation Force after that. And I have straight up no idea what to expect out of Federation Force. I have no clue at all. So I'll be very curious to see how that goes. Yeah, and I think that's kind of everything for now. I'm figuring out what Sonic Weekathon this year is going to be. It's going to be a shitload simpler than at least the last one, if not the last 2. It'll be closer in many ways to the first 2, maybe the third, but might not even be a week. It might even not be a week. Yeah. Unfortunately, my work trip is during the week that we would be doing that for that. And then we come back and I immediately go on a vacation within days of returning. So there's a good chance it's going to be like a mid-July, possibly into August type thing. But I got to finalize what I'm doing for it first, and then we'll go from there. I did have kind of a silly idea for part of it at least, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm trying to put some thought into Extra Life ahead of time so we can try to do something a little involved, but I've had some ideas, but I don't think that I can pull them together in time for this year. So we may have to come up with some stuff, but we'll see. Okay. I should wrap this up. We're like an hour late to be ending this, so I'm going to bounce from here. We got our community night coming tonight. We're watching on the Discord. We're watching Lake Michigan Monster, and Hundreds of Beavers. Should be a really interesting night. I've never seen either of them. I know very little about either of them. And I got no tabletop this week, so I'll be joining for once. Nice. And yeah, so the next Patreon is going to be so important update, because I don't know if the email notification thing worked properly with this, because I put it up and then I had to rapidly change it. So it was originally going to be June 19th. That is moving. I'm not available on June 19th. So because of all the other things that are going on, our next hangout is, I mean, realistically, it's going to be closer to when it should have been in the first place. But it'll be on July 3rd. The 3rd of July will be our next hangout and community night. Digimon night will still be on June 12th. We're going to be wrapping up Digimon Adventure 02. We're going to be doing the season finale. We're going to be watching the Revenge of Diaboromon movie. And we'll be, all at that point, I am going to be fully into the unknown. I am going to know nothing, literally zero, about what comes from that point forward in Digimon. I don't know a goddamn thing about Tamers or Frontier or any of them. So it'll be very new ground for me. I'm probably going to be a little bit less chatty during those because I'm going to be trying to absorb as much as I can. But yeah. So I'm going to bounce from here. Thank you guys very much for hanging. If anybody's watching the VOD for this, you can head to patreon.com/dpadfm. That was a perfect point for having to kind of guess where I needed to put that. That was pretty good. And you can jump in there. We got a couple different tiers of things. You can join in this live for $10 a month, among other stuff. I'm going to get out of here. Bye. See you in a little bit. Bye.